live, laugh.
All right, how's it going, everybody? I'm Daniel.
I'm Christian.
And we are joined with Dave and Zane Dawson. You may know them as the Dawsons. How are you guys doing today?
Doing good, man. Doing good.
On we appreciate you guys coming on. We were just talking on the air about spider grip.
I mean, it sounds like the best thing. I'm always dropping my phone. I can never keep track of it. I mean, I'm losing it in the car. It just flies. You know that thing when it goes down the side of the seat? You're like, I just need to pull over.
Yeah.
If I had this, I wouldn't need it.
Christian's trying to teach selfies for girls.
I mean, all the time. It's outrageous.
You're in luck because we just happen to have a spider grip on hand, ladies and gentlemen. Get a grip.
The leading number one, I don't know if that's statistics, but in my mind, the number one phone grip, spider grip, it can hold your phone up. It can go 360 degrees. And I mean, you know what I mean? If you need to hold your phone when you slap somebody in the face, I mean, you
there it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That Dawson endorsement, that's good enough for me, and it should be good enough for you.
What a way to start up.
Yeah. Shout out to our buddy David Britt, man. He's such a cool dude. Spider grip. Get a grip. Grip the freedom. Hashtag whatever you want.
Absolutely. And thank y'all so much for coming on the show. This is so cool.
We're having a good time.
Thank you for having us, man. Thank you for having us.
My just before we jump into questions, my earliest memory of y'all was at a BTW show like 5 or 6 years ago. My buddy Cole was wearing a Trevor Lee t-shirt. He just walked by y'all, and y'all proceeded to cut a promo on him that shook him for the rest of the night. He was uneasy the rest of the night, and I'm like, I like these guys. These guys are great.
Man, any opportunity we get to run our mouths and cut somebody down, we take it.
Is there anybody on your shit list right now that you'd like to say a few words about?
Are we doing that right now? I mean,
we can do that right now.
I mean, how about this? How about let's let it fester underneath the skin for the episode, and let's come back to it. That way, I can think the whole time.
Yeah,
and Dave can think the whole time, and maybe you guys can think the whole time as well.
Okay.
Because I want to know podcasters you got beef with.
Oh, do we have beef?
But then we can let the people have something to look forward to the end of the episode. How about that?
That's smart right there.
Anticipation. Okay. There it is.
I'll have one.
Okay.
As many as you'd like. So you guys are, I would say, probably the top tag team in North Carolina.
Oh man.
You guys are the guys that it seems like people trust to bring in the big names. You're the guys they work with. So to be at that point to where you are now, where did you start with wrestling? Like, what is your origin story? How did you get hooked on wrestling?
Dave, you want to go ahead? You always tell me.
So my story is
it's out. So first of all, we're shoot twin brothers, like minute apart. Shoot twin brothers. So his story is my story. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So go ahead, Dave.
Which one's older?
I'm older by a minute. Now this is your turn to tell this story because you buried me every time.
Well, you buried yourself, Dave. Okay. I'm just kidding. No, long story short, when we were in our mother's womb, we were set to come out normal. Whenever my mom went into labor, Dave rolled on top of me. His umbilical cord wrapped around my throat. Emergency C-section, had to get us out because I was dying, that type of situation. So we always tell everybody that Dave was trying to beat me in a match since
he went into business for himself.
Exactly. like he does always. You know what I'm saying? Dave's always the one going into
it is very
but no, so he's a minute, in that aspect.
No, so I'm a minute older, but our story is we were some young, really young, probably 5 years old, maybe 6-ish, and we were watching wrestling Saturday morning like all kids that are that age do, and it was a match with Hacksaw Jim Duggan, and he had just won the match, and every little boys infatuated with farts and boogers and peeing all over everything, right? So I see Hacksaw Jim Duggan after the match, and he's blowed up and he's huffing, but he's not breathing out of his mouth. He's breathing out of his nose, and the biggest, longest snot kept going in and out of his nose while he's huffing. So me as a kid, I'm like, oh my gosh, it's the greatest thing ever. So I equate that to falling in love with wrestling.
Yeah.
See, that might have been Dave. That might have been Dave, but normally like the over the top theatrics of the wrestling promo is what grabbed us, is pretty much what he's saying. He might have had something partial to the booger.
Yeah.
For the main part, it was the promo and the booger mix. I'll say, Dave. I'll give you that compromise.
Right.
Yeah.
But later on in the future, 30 some odd years later, I ended up naming my son after Hacksaw and named him Duggan. So shout out little Doug.
Yeah.
I love that. That's awesome.
I was looking through the cage match this morning, and I thought I had it written down. So correct me if I have the wrong brother, but somebody had a match with Jim Duggan.
That was me. That was me also.
That's
gotta be so
full circle. So
it
this
was
is
even more cool of a moment.
Dude, it was a singles match in his hometown at the time.
Yeah.
And like everybody he knew was there, and he was able to like wrestle. It was crazy.
It was cool. It was the one time that I was actually happy that my brother couldn't do it and was booked somewhere else, because they approached him first.
No, they told me that afterwards, after you were already booked for it. They were like, "Oh yeah, we were going to come to you, but Dave answered us first or something."
That must
be, it was really cool. It was really cool.
How do you I guess the two parts of that is like, how do you emotionally prepare for that? Because that's like, how aren't you just a kid again?
Right.
And then how do you put that together with someone who at that point is a bit older? Is like, do you just let them work their kind of match, or
you shut up and do what they want? Like it's I mean, it's like you said, the emotional part of it's oh man, this is the guy that made me like it in the beginning, and then like I said, 30 some odd years later, you're getting to wrestle with him, and it was super easy if it's like, if we're talking about how to put it together, because it's Hacksaw, you just do whatever it tells you. But it was, man, he being at his age and at his athletic level, he still went out there and entertained everybody. He still went out there. We did I remember I took a punch and rolled out, and it was at a bar too. So all the heels at the bar, they go, "Come here, bartender, give me you get out of the ring and go get a beer from the bartender." Well, I grabbed the beer, and the first swig, it goes down the wrong tube. Oof. So I'm out there with Hacksaw Jim Duggan.
Match of your life.
I'm trying to be this tough guy, no pun intended, and choke on the first beer. So I'm trying to get some air. But he still was out there working them while I'm on the outside dying,
Hey, hold on. In Dave's defense, he's being modest, okay? Dave knew every single thing that Hacksaw did in his matches. So whenever they got in the back and Hacksaw was about to lay it out, Dave knew every step to do. So even Hacksaw was like, "You're calling my match better than I remember it." So don't let that. Dave knew what it was, but he knew that he already knew what Hacksaw was going to do. So he was ready and prepared.
It was really cool too for him to come to the back and say, "Man, thank you for taking such good care of me." Like that's what you want after a match like that. I don't care if it was 5 stars or anything.
When you wrestle a person of that caliber, especially somebody like that, I mean, it's Hacksaw Jim Duggan, but anybody who's been to the dance, or just anybody, if you're wrestling the guy next to you in the indie show, you want to come in the back and then be like, "Thank you for not killing me." Or, and this may be pulling back the curtain, but I mean, the Undertaker retired. I mean, here, come on, let's get real. But like, that's what you strive for at the end of the day at any match. But mainly for those old timers, that's what you're looking for,
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And I guess the question is from there, because you got to wrestle a childhood hero, and then like you when you go to become a wrestler and how that journey works, and we'll try to get into all that. But were there certain wrestlers from that childhood era that y'all wanted when you decide you're going to be a wrestler? This is who you want to emanate. Like, this is a guy that inspires you. This is a guy that you wanted to be like. Are there any other of those guys?
There's a ton.
I mean, there was obviously like people like Ric Flair. Who doesn't want to be like Ric Flair? You know what I mean? If I knew that I could go be any type of character I want, I mean, Ric Flair's who I'd want to be. But I mean, realistically, by the guy that we were trained by, we were told like, you know, you kind of got to fit a role that you're already, you know, going towards. So I mean, we knew realistically what we wanted to be as far as we needed to find out who we were, but we knew the standard of what we needed to go out there and do. You know what I mean? As far as if we were going to go out there and fill the heel role, we knew what we needed to bring as far as just being a heel. So, I mean, we were out there from the jump, from the moment we finally got smartened up the right way and trained. We, you know, we were searching to try to figure out us, who we were as, you know, instead of trying to be, you know, we did that definitely early in our careers, trying to be like the John Cena's or whoever of that situation. But, you know, at the end of the day, you got to become who you were destined to be, I guess. Yeah. As weird as that sounds.
Yeah, that makes total sense. To kind of take it back, I know like probably the same thing with Christian, but when I was growing up, I was a wrestling fan, and I was kind of like, it was like something that you didn't want to tell people. It was something that you maybe were like, oh, I don't want to tell people I'm a wrestling fan. And as a result, I didn't really have anybody to like watch wrestling with or talk about wrestling with. What's it like to have somebody that is literally your twin to grow up watching wrestling, talking about wrestling? I'm sure you guys did your fair share of backyard wrestling or putting the mattresses on the floor. What is it like to have that relationship growing up watching wrestling?
Dude, if I may, like, to me, I'll never know anything else because this is what my life has been, you know, but there's nothing like it, man. Like it's, and it goes for anything in life, not just wrestling, but he's always here for anything. You know what I mean? Yeah. No matter what the severity of it, big or small, funny, sad, mad, whatever, he's there. So like in that time period when wrestling wasn't, you know, you were looked at in school as the weird people. Cause I mean, you know, me and Dave aren't the spring chickens running around here. So we were in that time period as kids in school that were looked down on as far as if you're a wrestling fan or not. So having him and the core group of people that we did in our lives that we could share that with, man, it's because I could only imagine how alone those kids felt that didn't have something like that. You know what I mean? Because this is all I know. So even whenever it wasn't cool, me and Dave would still, you know, do mock matches outside. I mean, my parents, goodness gracious, they, you know, Mom, we're not using this anymore. Can we take it outside and break it? Oh, okay, cool. You know what I mean, like stuff like that. And I mean, just and the core group of people that we came around with, you know, we did the backyard wrestling, but it wasn't, you know, death match stuff. It was mainly theatrics. I mean, we were trying to be the Undertaker and stuff. You know what I mean? So. Yeah, man, it's just been awesome. I mean,
and we definitely learned too how to fix a hole in the drywall very early age. And we always did it together too. That's another thing is we always were together, whether it be like he said, growing up on playing basketball or whatever it was, where it was always the same. We were on the same team. We had the same interest. But then, like he said, to add to what he said, like he was there for everything. We're always there for each other, and that's a good thing to have, man. I'm grateful.
That's incredible. Was the decision to get into wrestling a decision you made together, or was it one first and pitching the other one on the idea, or was it just this is what we're doing?
Man, so I my brother actually had a buddy of his from school that was going to college with some guy or something like that. Cause we obviously remained fans and we did the little things in the backyard, but then we became like teenagers. And I mean, we weren't out there trying to like break tables. We were trying to like not have pimples and stuff, you know what I mean? And trying to figure out what we could do to impress girls and stuff like that. So when he met this guy, they were talking about, and Dave, correct me if I am wrong at any point, but like,
No, you're good.
he knew these guys that were doing some training in a ring. So he started hanging out with them, and I would always be at the house, like, and he would come back from a weekend and be like, man, this was crazy. They got a ring and it's like this and this and this. And I'd be like, really? And then months and months and months would pass and he would leave and go away for the weekend. And I'd be sitting there like a little puppy when he'd get back, waiting on him to tell me about what happened at their wrestling. So then, time went forward and we eventually, decided like, dude, let's go try to see what this is about. And it was, very untrained, just some kids that happened to get a ring that were wanting to try to figure. And this is after like Tough Enough had already come out. So they were all trying to do stuff like that out there and saying that they were
vet. There was some old vet that had a ring in Harlem somewhere.
But I mean, everybody out there was trying to just work on bumps because they heard it on Tough Enough, and you know what I mean. They were trying to train that way, so they were doing shows. Man, they had a name. They were drawing like 150 people in Clinton High School, like no training, nothing, but like it was just a bunch of kids together had an idea. Like I said, it was theatrics, but it was a higher level. So we started toying around with that. And it literally like, we were like, we have to do this, dude. Like, and I think we were 18 at the time, right?
Yeah.
And it was like, man, we have to figure out how to do this. Then we did a show with these guys. Sorry, this is going to get long-winded, but
no, you're good.
This is good.
We did a show with these guys, and we're wrestling like normal, we think. And another group of fans who we thought were fans showed up, and they were really, really like aggressively heckling us, like not just us, the entire show. And we're like, man, have y'all in the locker room? We're like, man, have y'all seen these guys over here in the corner? And they're a bunch of big burly dudes in the corner. So nobody's like, yeah, we're going to go over there and kick their ass. Cause they look like somebody's dad, you know what I mean? So,
like us now.
Yeah. So they got under a couple guys' skin, and after the show, they approach us, and we're thinking like, oh man, here it goes. And listen, this is the turning point right here, literally, that made us as a collective group. There was a bunch of us there, literally say, okay, we need to figure out a way to get trained the right way. Because they came up to us and said, we're all wrestlers, and what we should do is kick the crap out of you guys right now for making a mockery of our business by coming out here untrained and throwing shows and taking money away from these people. Because you're untrained, but we're all just out there trying to be, Bret Hart. You know what I'm saying? That's all we're trying to do is just wrestle. But these guys are like, they checked us and they said, if you're gonna do this, you know what I mean? Like, you need to go find somewhere to get trained, or we're gonna be here every single time you run a show, and we're gonna run you out of town. Which to me, that opened our eyes. They weren't gonna run us out of town. That's whenever we realized, like, okay, we need to find somebody to get trained.
Yeah.
Where did you guys go from there as far as getting that more official training?
Dave, do you know?
Man, we met one of our best friends to this day. Our good buddy Tracy Gilbert. The group of guys that he's talking about mentioned some shows that we could go find him, and we went and found him at a show. I remember the match that was going on. It wasn't it? Was it Trey G or was it?
It was Trey versus Hang Time with Caprice Coleman as the special guest referee.
And Caprice.
It was at Danger Zone Wrestling in Fayetteville years ago. This is years ago. all these wrestlers, their trainers will know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
But yeah, we walked in there as that match was going on, and man, we remember seeing the little interaction that, because Caprice and Tracy were the ones that had the little feud, and just seeing their interactions, like, man, these guys are getting these people. Like, this guy's getting like, he's killing these people with his heat. So that, and come to find out, that's the guy we needed to go see. So we went and talked to him, and he said, y'all got to be my boys, but yeah, I'll take you and train you, and y'all are going to be my guys. And we, man, to this day, like I said, we're 20. Is it 20 yet? 20 years? Yeah,
man. If not 20 yet, it's
so yeah, 20 years later, man, we're still close with him and still take his advice. I see him every morning. But he's still big brother and still takes care of us all to this day, man. It's
and I mean, like, we just reached out to him and we're like, hey, we were told we needed to get with you guys because we really want to do this, you know. And mind you, it was only 4 or 5 of us out of a group of like 20 guys that they approached. So we were the ones that really wanted to do it. So he saw it and he immediately could see it in us that we were serious. And he didn't charge us a dime. He came out every single week and gave us the knowledge that we still use to this day.
Yeah, it started in the backyard. He would come out, and then he ended up getting a hook. Brother is a worker. He got a hook on this pawn shop that he was using the back room of in Clinton, and we would run shows there every single Wednesday with $1 tickets in this little room with, man, our biggest crowd there for the guys was probably 20 people, and then they sold it out with a whopping 56 people for an all-girl show. But literally, it's this little building that we did every single week, man. We got so many reps.
Yeah, that's amusing.
Out of doing shows every week and training, no matter if there was any people there at all. We got so many reps, and man, we've had so many matches that aren't seen or can't ever be seen again.
That will never be seen.
that are so good, and then
Tracy Gilbert, they will never be seen. Tracy Gilbert.
This may sound like a dumb question, but I'm gonna ask it anyway. What was the biggest difference from the self-train to when you're actually getting trained? Like, what's the immediate, like, like the biggest difference, I guess?
Well, first, there's never a dumb question. So, because at the time, dude, and I know, and I just want to apologize for how long-winded this podcast is.
No,
and how it's going to be, because we're talkers. So, yeah. But at the time, we thought we were getting it. You know what I mean? At the time, we thought we were stone cold stunning each other, thinking that we're out here doing something. So at the time, we're thinking this is how you're supposed to do a Russian leg sweep, you know. But, you know, when we were, honestly, in my opinion, for me, when you have a real wrestler looking at you like, dude, that's not how you're supposed to do that. Come here. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And then that's when you make the realization, like, okay, wow, oh yeah, that doesn't hurt as bad as it did before.
I was just about to say that.
Or oh, we're supposed to do it this way because of this. Oh, wow, maybe I shouldn't have just taken it upon myself. And I mean, I look forward now, thinking back, you always think when you're younger that you know better, you know, than somebody that knows better. But I'm learning now, geez, I should have listened to every single person that was like, hey man, why don't you try to do it this way, maybe? But
that's fantastic.
Live and you learn, I guess, right?
Yeah. When you were first starting out, what did your character look like? Were you guys a tag team, or were you doing singles? What were you guys doing at that time?
Sheesh. So at the time, I kind of started a little bit before Dave, as far as like being out on the doing shows and stuff. He was still living in Fayetteville at the time, and I had already moved to Wilmington, so I was already kind of doing shows before him. But So
I had some legal issues that I had to stay.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna get into all that, you know what I mean? But some restitution had to hey, that's the past though. Okay, that was statute of limitations is done.
Baby mamas. I'm just kidding.
He's got one baby's mama.
Yeah,
she's
only one. Shout out, baby. I love you.
But what were we talking about? Jeez, I just blanked.
Your initial characters and like.
Oh, okay. So normally, from what Tracy was training us, he pretty much at the time, whenever we got to the point where we needed a character and had to move on, he was like, I mean, because he gave me my name and everything. I mean, it was literally like and I guess from my experience, that's how it's supposed to be done. But I mean, it is what it is. He pretty much gave me the name. The name came from dang, I'm going deep into it.
Do it.
The name from what he told me, and this I don't know if it's true or not, but I've been telling everybody for 20 years. This is what
from the movie. It's on Tracy.
The movie Over the Top. Apparently, it was like over the intercom, a name that somebody said like in the beginning credits as the thing's going. They're like, Zane Dawson, so he gave me that name. He told me he wanted me to be like a street fighter, like wearing like I'll remember this phone call for the rest of my life vividly. Like he was like, I want you to wear like, think to yourself, but like something like sweats, like a sweatsuit, hoodie on with like tape fists, and you like come in the ring and like you're this street fighter type of, because I mean, we grew up in Fayetteville, so we had this outspoken kind of charisma to ourselves. So he was wanting me to be this kind of street fighter that may go into like starting to talk junk to people or whatever. Mm-hmm. So I took that and took it to somebody that I thought I could get some reactions with, and I'll say it was like a Malibu's Most Wanted type of character.
Okay.
And I went overboard a lot, but yeah, so it was like the white guy that's trying to act like somebody he's not. I'll just say that. So that was my character at first, as Zane Dawson. Long way away from a street fighter. I was pretty much this loudmouth coward type of.
It was Padlock John Cena before Padlock John Cena.
So then when Dave came in, I was I was by myself because Trey G, who we're talking about, did like a Slim Shady Eminem type of gimmick. So I was kind of with him along those lines. Which is
wild.
Dude, it's nuts. That's why I said it'll never be seen ever. Tracy Gilbert. This is the only proof, this audio. But Dave came in.
You've seen the videos that they share. It's clips of the person talking and the shit and the stuff that they're talking about. So they're gonna reach out to him, and they're gonna get the video of you telling this story right now.
Yeah, if you could share Tracy's information with me, that'd be great.
Oh, goodness gracious. Trey, I know you're gonna give him something too. Damn it. No, so when Dave came in, it was kind of along those same lines, and then we did tag stuff for a while.
And I wrestled under the name Sick Wit It, and it was very stupid. It was Zane Dawson and Sick Wit It.
Hey, listen.
We were the Phat Boyz, PHAT boys.
Yeah, bro.
And we got more heat than anybody in the world back then because we were that outspoken. We didn't care. We were from Fayetteville. We were responsible for Tupac and Biggie. Ain't nobody else did it. We did it. We came out and got that kind of. We were screaming that. We wanted it. We wanted it.
So there's no defense. Okay. Trey G trained us to be heat magnets. You know what I mean? Because that's what we saw immediately. Like Dave said, whenever we walked in that thing and saw how he was controlling that crowd, that's how he trained us to be. He trained us like nothing's off limits. Obviously, we have limits. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But we'll toe that line right up to it. So I mean, it was pretty much that, but those were our characters starting out. Yeah, so
Yeah, we don't have limits. This is where you cue the video of the lady throwing the nachos at us in the ring.
there you go. That was fun.
That's awesome. So where do you guys go from there as far as branching out from the initial school?
Man, at the time, well, the school was the back of this dude's, it was Trey coming out every week, giving us his time and his body and teaching us everything. But we really learned like on the road with him. So after that, he, like Dave said, we were his boys then.
Yeah.
So we went everywhere Trey went. Trey started promoting his own shows, ACPW, which Trey has a show coming up in the very near future. He just announced on Facebook. But he started ACPW, and it gave us a place to, that's where the pawn shop Dave was referring to came to under that name, because Trey would run shows in Roseboro, Salemburg, Clinton area of North Carolina, like the country.
Is that by Spivey's Corner?
Is it, Dave? In this Spivey's Corner over there, Dave?
I know it's in Sampson County, but it's the hog hollering capital of the world.
Yeah.
That sounds exactly right.
It sounds like Clinton.
No, but ACPW does have a show Saturday, May 13th. Rescue Squad.
Yeah, that's a benefit for our buddy Shane Martin. Sadly, passed away a couple years back, and they're doing a benefit for his family. But
that's awesome.
We'll make sure we share that on our social.
But yeah, it was man, it was a good time back then.
Is there anybody that you were running with back then that's still in the scene, or anybody that like?
Well, I mean, as far as the ACPW group, so I'll just say the people that got trained in our core group of people was me, Dave, Sean Cruz, which y'all had Sean Cruz on.
Yeah, love him.
And I think he kind of talked about the story kind of. But then it was a guy named Charlie Dreamer, greatest babyface in the world. And a guy named Daniel Messina, Dr. Love. And like I'm gonna say Dr. Love, if y'all don't know who or didn't ever see this guy, he was the most entertaining character wrestler that I've ever seen. And maybe it's because he's my buddy and I love him, but to me, he was incredible. Injuries took him out. Same thing with like Charlie. Charlie ended up moving to San Antonio.
Mm-hmm.
We did have the pleasure of having Dax Harwood in our around us from literally the moment he started wrestling. He's literally one of our best friends.
Yeah.
He from the moment he trained, we were tied up with him, and he was around us all the time. So we lived together, we came up together, we worked together, everything. I mean, he's like our brother. So obviously he's still doing it. Taking a little break right now, but Sean Cruz is still doing it. But those were the core group of guys that got trained initially.
Yeah.
Wow, what a crew.
And I was looking through some of your matches, and I saw that you had a match with Casey McKnight, right, for Dax?
Yeah.
Back in 2006. What's it like seeing his success as a guy that you started out with?
Like just the progression of where he was to where he is now. Like that's what.
Oh man, it's great seeing what he's become from what he was back in the day. That when we all met him, man, he's come such a long way, and I think we've all grown up. But seeing him being the top, in my opinion, the top wrestler in the world and top tag team wrestler in the world, and then being such a good family man too, man. He loves his family, loves his little girl, loves his wife, and it's really, really cool. Really cool.
Yeah, man. I mean, even from back in the day, like we all knew You know what I mean? Like even our group of guys, because he came in, after we were already in the business, trained. It was me, Dave, Charlie, Daniel, and Sean that were the group. And then, Casey came in and literally, like, I'll say it, I've said it to him. He literally like put a boot in our butt, and we took it seriously after he came around because he was so good. Like literally, because we were looked at like we were really good from some kids that just learned how to do it from Clinton and from Trey. We were looked at as really good wrestlers, and we could do everything really well. And then when KC came along, it literally made us all like, whoa, okay, we need to step our game up.
Yeah.
And I mean, literally, we all gravitated towards each other. So it was literally like seeing all of us growing at the same time. You know what I mean? And just we knew, like literally, he used to live in our dining room, our apartment. Like his Bret Hart's cutout that you see on some of his posts. That's the same exact Bret Hart cutout that was in our corner of our dining room. He slept on our floor, like literally.
Yeah.
Like it was that. That's how close we were. So us coming up, we would sit there and talk about how, man, one of these days you're going to be on Raw, and one of these days you're going to be on this, and one of these days you're going to be looked at as the greatest wrestler ever.
Yeah.
And even throughout his career, all these accomplishments that he's had, we would touch base, dude, you're doing it. Like, this is crazy. Like, remember that? And now it's like, I mean, it speaks for itself. I mean, he's literally, I mean, not just because he's one of my best friends, but he's literally one of the best wrestlers in the world ever.
Yeah.
Ever. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it's amazing, man. We put him over all the time. We love you, Casey.
Yeah. What was it like? I know this last year at AML, you got to wrestle like FTR at the height of FTR, or I think it might have been right before they kind of
took on their belt conquest deal.
But what is it like starting out and now here you are wrestling them as like, I agree with you, the top tag team in the world. Kind of,
that very much is a opinion of the show that Dax is. Anytime we did this breakdown of like who we thought was the best wrestlers of the last year, and we kind of agree that like, yeah, he's either one or two.
Yeah,
and that's crazy.
I mean, there's no holes in it, man. You can't find a hole in his game. Like I posted on Facebook like a couple days ago, the match between him and Mike Bailey from WrestleCade.
Yeah,
anybody find something wrong with it. There's nothing. If you can follow the story in it, oh my gosh, it's beautiful. Like he covers every base, man. There's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong in his game. Anything that he maybe could be looked at as a flaw, he points it out himself.
Yeah.
So you can't even bring it up, So he already takes that off the plate as something that could be viewed negatively. There's no holes, man. You know what I mean? So I mean, I didn't mean to cut you off, but seriously, we joke, and everybody's, but it's for real, man. Like I know everybody does the flashy stuff, but he can make you believe that he's really punched I mean, he's probably punching the guy in the face.
Yeah.
So, and as far as the time that we got to work with him, man, it was so much fun to see him. It was so much fun to see him and catch up, and we actually got a huge surprise from our buddy Charlie Dreamer out of San Antonio. We were sitting there and we took a 3-person picture with Dax, and we were going to send it right to Charlie as my brother's sending it to Charlie. Charlie walks in and he says, "Is this the seminar?" And we just got a huge surprise seeing him. It was so cool. The match, we weren't. Most people will get in there and say that they are nervous. Of course, they're nervous to wrestle FTR, but we knew that it was gonna be a classic FTR match, and it felt good to me to be able to at least say that we hung with them and had a great match with them. And then also Dan or Cash, he's phenomenal, dude. He doesn't get enough credit. Like even though he's obviously people look at Dax because he's more vocal and tells, the bigger story or whatever, but Cash is amazing, dude. He is
Yeah.
amazing. His intensity is amazing. His storytelling's amazing. And like, if you look back at the match that him and Dax had for the Owen tournament, it was phenomenal, man. And it's he should be held in that same regard. And I think, and everybody does, and I know Dax holds him in that regard too. Like he's the number 2. You know what I mean? Like it's both of them that are, in my opinion.
They're 1A and one. You know what I mean? Like they're 1 and 1A type of deal. And I mean, just to go piggyback on that, like it was amazing. Like when we got a chance, when we found out that we were going to work with them, because we had rumblings that it may be a possibility at some point, like months, maybe even a year beforehand. You know, that this may be a possibility that we bring them in to have you guys work with them. And you know, it's our buddy, you know what I mean? So we're super excited, and like he's saying, Cash, I mean, geez, what a talent, but he's such a great guy too, you know what I mean? So us being able to work with these guys, it was like a dream come true. And then to do it in a, sold out building was the icing on the cake as far as that went. And we went almost 30 minutes with FTR, and it was a blast. But even after that, when we worked with the Acclaimed, I mean, they were fresh off the AEW tag team title win that like days beforehand, and it was Dave's had the bright idea to hey, let's just throw it out there and right at the beginning of the match and challenge these guys for the AEW titles. Why not? Right? I mean,
we were their first unofficial tag team title defense. I don't care. Nobody.
And I mean, I'm sure they had the hoop jump and make sure that was all right. So we ain't gonna be in no record books, but who cares? We know what it is.
AML has this tendency. I've noticed this that they booked Acclaimed right like that time period that they win the belts and then they're on their show and it's like bang bang. I think they did the same thing with the Guns. I saw that they're booked and they just won the titles. I'm like,
it's weird how that works out because I mean, honestly, like they had no clue. I remember talking during the day. I'm like, so had to change the graphics up real fast, huh?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because like they don't know. It's just literally it's happened twice so far. You know what I mean?
Storm too, right? On the same show.
Oh, did that happen as well?
I don't think she was the champion when they booked it, and then.
Jeez.
Man,
wrestling. What a magical
hey,
place.
And who knows? Might be manifesting here, but we might get a second AEW title shot. How about that, huh?
Okay.
We're about manifesting here on the show. So going back to your match with FTR, when it maybe this goes without saying, but how does it change when you're wrestling your friends and like it's something that like the chemistry is there, there's probably a little more leeway there to do the match that you're creating something great. How does that change? I guess different from guys you might not normally work with.
I mean, honestly, for me, when you're trained the right way, that it's there. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
If like we came up with KC, or I'm gonna call him KC. Yeah. We came up with KC, and I know that Dan was trained the same way. As far as, I mean, when we used to wrestle, you should see the matches that are on YouTube of us wrestling Casey from back in the day. I mean, geez, they're aggressive. I mean, to me, it takes the pressure off. I know that Casey's not going to get mad at me if I fly, if I lay it in there a little bit, and vice versa kind of thing. But I mean, it
definitely makes you go harder, man. It makes you less not afraid, but less worried about giving a potato or something, because that they can take it and they know you can take it too. And
let's not get it twisted. Like, I'm not worried about that with anybody that we get.
Yeah, we'll hit you.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm not. To me, it's I'm not worried about that. But it's a mindset thing where, oh man, like when we were in the locker room, we were talking about family and stuff. Like we ain't got to worry about nothing like that. But I mean, as far as like the differences, I mean, it's there's pressure if you're trying to make sure that, you know, because we have a certain level that we want to present each time we go out, no matter who we're in there with. You know what I mean? And I guess the pressure to want to give more is there, you know, with the FTR match, because I know me and Dave wanted to be the best match ever, and obviously we didn't want to stink the joint out, you know. So I guess that's the pressure, is wanting to be the best we can be as far as for our opponents.
That's fantastic.
While we're on the topic of AML, I just wanted to ask, what is it like to be involved in a War Games match? Because that's not something a lot of people can say that they've done. And you guys have done it twice.
Man, it's war, dude. It's a war, and it you know, you get in there with you watch all the old tapes of the old stuff, and then even the newer stuff, and you're like, damn, how do those guys do it? But it doesn't compare until you get in. And once you get in, it's like, damn, I got to, this is going to hurt. And I mean, every bit of it hurts. Every bit of it hurts, especially if you're in there with the guys that we've been in the ring, you know, in those War Games matches with, man, it hurts, dude. It hurts. That's the one word I can associate with is pain.
Yeah. So I mean, in a couple different ways, because like, so a lot of people don't know, like at the day after the last day of WrestleCade weekend, I had like a slight separation in my right shoulder. Nothing super major. Obviously, we had some time off, so I was making sure I was good and all that stuff. Man, right when I get into the War Games match this year, I clothesline, I take CW's head off, clothesline CW, and then I clothesline Gustavo. And boy, let me tell you, it literally felt like my shoulder went out of socket immediately. So now I'm dealing with that immediately. Now I got 5 other guys trying to bash my head in and ram me into the cage, you know. But I mean, on the other end of it, it's like then I grabbed Gustavo at one point of it, and he's literally like pouring blood out of his face. And like I'm trying to hit him, and then I look at my hands, and there's literally like puddles of blood dripping through my fingers. Like even look, we're big, mean, you know, dudes that ain't strangers to hard work, that have to, you know, unclog toilets with our bare hands kind of stuff, clean up puke, throw out nasty, ugly people at the bar. We've been in nasty situations. But when you got somebody else's blood dripping through your fingers,
you smell that. You smell that,
man. You smell that iron. That's what it smells like. You smell that, all that copper, that nasty metallic smell all around you. Like, and it's everywhere. You got to mentally be ready for something like that. I mean, I know we see death matches and those are incredible visuals. Mm-hmm. But when you have emotional issues between people and they get inside somewhere where they have to settle it one way or the other, you know what I mean? Because you only got another ring to go to. But when there's 10 guys in there, it's rough, man. You better hope when you turn around that it's one of your buddies you're looking at, not somebody's fist flying at you. Because normally, you know, I would say 5 times out of 10, that's what it's going to be, you know.
How much preparation actually can go? Like, because you mentioned it's kind of chaotic. Like, how do you prepare yourself? And then how do you prepare to kind of tell the story when there's like so much going on?
So many factors there. Like, how do you?
Man, you just, I guess I don't know from a promoter standpoint, because you would have to block off a certain amount of time for, you know, something of that magnitude, like just putting it up. You know, I mean, you do have the wrestling's fastest cage installer, Bob Keller, on the scene. So I think he got it up like in under 15 minutes or something. So
Impressive.
he got that up there, but still you have to allot at least, I mean, a certain block of time for a match of that magnitude, because you got the time constraints as far as every 5 minutes somebody comes in. You know what I mean? So, and then the match doesn't technically start until all 10 people are in the ring. Then somebody can be pinned or submitted, or or submit or surrender. That's the only way that to lose. So until that happens, I mean, you're going at least a good 30, 40 minutes of getting your face bashed into a cage. So, I mean, the preparation is literally like, get ready, because you're going to have to, I mean, for guys like me and Dave that like to go out there and feel, you know, somebody punching you in the mouth, like that get to, I mean, I know it might sound weird. I don't know if this is like a condition or something, but like, I mean, it gets me going. If you rock me once, it's a wrap, because now I'm coming for you. So it's, I mean, what are we doing here? You know what I mean? The we're in pro wrestling to fight and be in fight situations. So like, I'm ready to fight. You know what I mean? So
yeah, the preparation is just getting punched in the mouth.
Yeah.
And I mean, as far as getting mentally ready for, like I said, visualizing somebody's blood going through your fingertips, or what you may have to go to in your brain to get the job done. I mean, you're surrounded by steel. Some people get that, you know, you ever heard the terms, you ever seen a dog backed into a corner? Like, it's a scary thing. So if you get somebody, say like Gustavo, I remember this, like I'll remember this forever. Me and Dave had Gustavo, and this is right after I saw his blood going through my fingertips. And Gustavo, I don't know what happened in his brain and his heart, whatever. He got a jolt of adrenaline and punched me square in the mouth. I mean, square in the face, bam. And then turned to Dave and punched Dave square in his face, bam. Yeah. And he turned around to me and I kicked him right in the mouth afterwards. So I was like, dude, what in the world, you know? So you have, you know, you never know what's going to happen in the match, literally. So, I mean, it's, and when you're in there with guys of the caliber like the Extreme Horseman and George South and the AML champion White Mike, dude, come on, man. You're in there with the best of the best. So, I mean, you luckily we had a great 2022 priming us up for that match with, you know, with all those names we just mentioned before.
To kind of talk about White Mike. Sorry, you go ahead.
No. I was just gonna add. Speaking of 2022, we had the AML War Games match from 2022, which was a really cool moment for me and my brother as well, because they had special guest like coaches or managers for the team, and the on the other side they had JJ Dillon, so they all got the big 4 horsemen jackets and stuff like that. And then it was so cool for us to have our coach or manager, Paul Ellering, and he managed the monster team. And we had this camo gear that was made by Carrie Craven. Shout out Carrie Craven. But she made everybody camouflage gear, and then Paul Ellering coming out and with his little, you know, his newspaper or whatever. And
Street Journal, brother.
To be able to get some pictures with him, because we were big Road Warriors fans, so naturally we wanted to. And I remember my brother, like, I don't know if we should do it. I don't know if we should ask him, man. Screw that. I'm gonna go talk. Yeah. Please come take a picture with us. Yeah. And it was such a cool moment. So I just wanted to bring that up from the previous Acts of War Games match for AML, man. It was really cool. Really cool.
That's something Sean Cruz mentioned, is always take the pictures.
Yeah, especially.
Yeah. We're realizing it now, man. And back in the day, like before camera phones were even a thing, when we were coming up, we're so blessed to have Trey G be our trainer and us be around him, because he'd surround us with guys like Tracy Smothers and Ricky Morton, Robert Gibson, and the Midnight Express, Dennis Condrey and Bobby Eaton. Like, we got a chance to wrestle Dennis Condrey and Bobby Eaton, me and my brother. You know what I
That's
mean?
awesome.
And
Yeah.
to have them critiquing us and congratulating us when we go out there and had a good match. Like, this is what we were under. So we were able to get some pictures with them and Larry Zabisco and Kamala and people of like that. And I know I'm leaving people out. George South. Who else, Dave? Can you remember people that we were? Ivan Koloff. But just so many. So we were able to get some pictures with them. So I treasure those now because, rest in peace, Bobby Eaton's no longer with us. And I treasure those moments now looking back as like, man, I'm so fortunate that I was able to have that. You know what I mean? I was able to experience that with my brother, just like I do everything else in my life. And the core group of guys that we came up with underneath Trey G, we were able to experience all this through him giving us the opportunity. You know what I mean? So it's definitely, especially now, more important than anything. Like as I got older, man, I realized that time and memories is all we have, dude.
Yeah.
So it's so important to, like, when you're there in the moment. I know it's important to put the phone down. I know it's important, but at least for 2 seconds, snap that picture and put that phone in your pocket and then enjoy the moment. But at least get that moment, because you never know. You never know. We just lost Jay Briscoe, rest in peace, not too long ago. You never know when your friends aren't going to be here anymore. You know what I'm saying? So
it definitely that cool little fun story about Trey G bringing all those names is we actually learned how to punch from Ricky Morton, Tracy Smothers, and it was a brick wall. It was a brick wall. If your knuckles didn't bleed, then you threw a good punch.
Yeah, you'll learn how to pull that punch when your knuckles stop bleeding. There you go.
I never thought about that.
But fun story that we could tell, man, because it's little stuff like that you don't.
Well, it was billed as a seminar, Dave. You remember that? It was billed as the seminar, right? It was the third day of this 3-day loop that Trey did. He did one show I think he did the Friday at the pawn shop, a Saturday at like the middle school, and then a Sunday back at the pawn shop. But he was going to do a seminar and he had these names for the loop, brother. You know what I mean? They're there for the whole loop. So Sunday was going to be an opportunity to learn from George South, Ricky Morton, and Tracy Smothers. Literally these 3 guys in a seminar. So of course we're Trey's guys and we want to learn from them. So we go. And it's literally because I don't know if the Trey wasn't there. I don't know if the lady with the key wasn't there, but we did a seminar on the grass with the canvas on the grass, taking bumps on the ground, learning to roll. I remember Casey and Tracy Smothers rolling around on the mat, literally like doing chain wrestling. No ring. We're, there's a couple of us doing practicing punches on the brick wall. Excuse me. Couple guys practicing punches on the brick wall.
This is the best visual.
And literally,
somebody driving by
from the street. I'll give you the visual. Okay, you got the canvas over here to the right with Tracy Smothers and Casey rolling around with maybe George standing there laughing. Then, or no, George is standing there laughing at all us trying to do punches on the wall with Ricky Morton. Just pull it. Just pull it. Just come on, pull it. And George is like laughing at us. But that's your visual from if you would think. We're outside. I think it had just rained maybe the night before. So that was our that was our upbringing in wrestling, man. I love it.
That's awesome. We're already at an hour, so I want to make sure that we don't take too much of your guys' time. I do have one question for you, Dave. I saw that you worked a dog collar match with Victor Andrews. If you could walk us through like the psychology of a dog collar match and like going into that, like how do you prepare yourself and then how do you work it, and just any information you want to share about that.
Oh man, it was shout out Victor Andrews. It was a culmination of like, I don't know how, it was probably a year and maybe a little longer than a year of a feud that me and him were having for PWF. It used to be owned by Steve Carino and now Jakob Hammermeyer and them own it now. But it was a year culmination of that feud, and we did every single kind of match. We had I remember it's a legit chain too, man. And that, just like the Acts of War Games match, man, that stuff hurts, dude. And it's in those kind of matches, you're not pulling nothing because it's the end of it. So man, I can remember catching him on this. He did this Undertaker dive over the top, man. And I remember as he hits me, his chain came and hit me too on the way down. And it's just added pain to everything, man. There was no rules. We ended it with a Japanese style table that didn't break. But that was because I had been beating him every single match that we had by crook. But he finally got the W on me, and it was man, it's just those dog collar matches again. I hate to keep bringing up FTR and the Briscoes. I mean, it's the best. Man, that match it was way better than ours, but it was brutality, man. It was brutality, and that's the only prep you can have is like, man, get ready to be licking your wounds afterwards, man, because it's gonna hurt.
Absolutely.
That's awesome.
Hey, look, and mind you, we can answer whatever y'all want. We can talk if y'all are good, we're good.
I have one more question, and it's more so just to pick y'all's brain about the North Carolina scene, or maybe even outside of North Carolina. Who are guys that you think more people should be aware of? Maybe they're not getting a big enough platform that people should be definitely checking them out.
I mean, I have man. I'll just start rocking names off. How's that sound?
Yeah.
Okay. I'd say James Ryan, Chance Riser. He's starting to get a lot of recognition. Sean Cruz. I mean, he's been doing it for a while, but still, he's out here getting it. TIM, White Mike. I know they're already getting recognition. Movie Mike, Yaya. Rayhan Entez, Owen Knight, man, Dave, keep rattling them off for me.
Oh man, guys like Patrick Scott, Bojack, Axton Ray,
Donnie Meltman, that's my dude. Donnie, what's up? Yes.
Mason Miles, you got all those guys, all the guys down at PWF, man, they're killing it.
Yeah, man. James Johnson, Selena, what is that? What are they? Daddy daughter dance?
Yes, that's awesome.
And not just as a wrestler, but James Ryan is a phenomenal commentator, man. I didn't realize how good he was as a commentator until I heard him on the Acts of War Games, man. It was so good.
Years from now, you'll look back and be like, "Whoa, dude!" You know what I'm saying? Because like these guys are just scratching the surface. There's so many other people that I didn't name. You know what I'm saying? That I'm probably gonna kick myself for being like, "Man," after this is over. But like, I'm just scratching the surface of it, man. Like, there's so many people at the AML Training Center that are literally knocking on the door of like, you right there. You're right there. You know what I'm saying? But like Chance Riser's been out here for years, just student of the game. Every person that I named and the people that I'm forgetting, I'm gonna kick myself. They all like, you can tell that just like Trey G was able to tell in us that we wanted it and that we wanted to become this. We see it in all these people, man. They literally are doing everything that they can to become the next generation of like actual, not people just out here doing it, man. You know, and I believe that fans can see that as well. Fans can see that the guys that are just out here to say that they're wrestlers, you know, but there's people actually, and like I said, forgive me, people that I didn't name, but the group of people that we were talking about are literally like up next. Lucky Ali, I knew I forgot one. Lucky
I'd love to
Ali.
hear it.
Look, let me tell you, man. Alexander Moss, Cozone, man, Malachi,
Jackson Drake.
yes, I can always get his name. I want to call him Drakes and Jack for some reason. He's got one of them names, you know. But look, man, Lucky Ali, bro. He's it's not just a catchphrase. He's literally like there. He's unlike anything else, man. I'm serious. Like
He is up next, and we're up never. But no, they
what? No,
they,
we're up now, Dave.
Those are all great guys that are up and coming too. But you can't forget about the guys that've been doing it for years and years, like Trey G, Team Pitbull, and the Gorilla Squad, Ali and D-Mac. These guys have been doing it for just as long as we have, and that's who we pay our homage to. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the Heat Seekers. I mean, the Mid-Atlantic Outlaws, guys like that. They've been out here
the
for.
Ugly Ducklings are still around killing
man.
it. Man, it's just it's so many of them now. Everybody's popping. Back when we were first starting, it was the worst.
Yes,
So we give everybody their roses. I think we got to circle back to give everybody their shit. So I hope. Yeah. Full circle here.
Now that we've that was a good. I like that transition. All right, so we'll allow, since you guys invited us here and been such gracious hosts, why don't you guys go first and tell us the heat you got and the beef you have with the podcast, or why I get this situated?
I don't think we have any beef. I think we're just trying to be good to everybody right now. We're not trying to make enemies. We're just starting out. Give us 20 years and we'll talk some shit. But
okay, here's how I'll do this. I'll tell you. I'll describe the person I have beef with. How's that? Okay. The people I have beef with are the people that act like they understand. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not talking about wrestlers right now. I'm talking about people in general that feel like they know the business if they weren't trained. You can do all kinds of reading you want, but until you were trained on how to do it, or you took a bump, or you were in there with somebody, you know, that's for one. Now for wrestlers, I think that if you're out here, listen, I've never once came out here not in character saying that I'm this and I'm that and I'm this and I'm that. Okay. Now I don't have to do that. You know what I mean? Me and my brother don't have to do that. We don't have to come out here and say we've done this and we've done that, because people say it for us. You know what I mean? So like for the people now, this is the first time I've ever gotten cocky like this. And ever am talking like this, but for real,
keep going.
If you're really out here doing it and you ain't doing it like me and my brother are doing it, then shut up. Okay. If you ain't out here and you ain't done what we've done, sure, it's a new day and sure, it's a, new year and all that. But like, if you ain't out here doing what me and him are doing, then keep your mouth shut. Let your actions speak for you. I know me and Dave ain't in the best damn shape, but we getting there. We could take a fitness damn journey anytime we want to. But guess what? That's the only thing holding us back. Because if we had that in check, we'd be on your TV right now. And I don't care who hears it. But hear me out. If you're out here and you're thinking that you got this shit locked, and you're out here and you're thinking that you got everything under control, just know you got me and my brother on your ass always. And we've been
doing got our ass to whoop, first of all, because you ain't doing nothing until you get past us. We're the final boss in this shit. And ain't nobody getting nowhere unless it's through us. The king of this shit.
That's definitely a
You hear that, James Ryan? I'm coming for you, dog.
You hear that, Chet Sterling? You can't run forever.
Yeah, you've been ducking us, Chet. I've been posting about you for years, Chet. And finally, I'm calling you out live on a podcast. Chet Sterling, what the hell happened to you? Okay, Chet Sterling. Damn it, Dave. Thank you. That's who
You
my
hear that, Gun Club? We're
Huh?
coming for you.
We're coming for those AEW titles. But seriously, Chet, what the hell, man? Okay, you're on top of the world. What are you doing, Chet? I'm calling you out again. If I don't get a promo, Chet, by the end of the damn week, we got a problem. And it's Saturday.
This has been great, guys.
Much fun.
I would love to have you back on because I feel like we could literally talk to you guys forever. So much knowledge, and we're just super excited to have you on. If you guys don't mind plugging your socials, if you want to talk about Spider Grip again, go ahead. But just let everybody know where they can find you.
Heck yeah, you can find Spider Grip anywhere, just SPIIDERGRIIP.com, and get your Spider Grip to the phone grip that won't slip. Follow David Britt on all your socials for
that line. That was amazing.
For more information, but you can follow me and Dave on Twitter and Instagram at Dawson Brand PW for Dave and Zane Dawson for me. Also, we have a Pro Wrestling Tees store at www.prowrestlingtees.com/Dawson shop. We have like more than 5 designs on there of like some sick shirts. And look, man, just be a good person, man. Like, I know we go out here and we are, we're supposed to be this and supposed to be that. But at the end of the day, like, we're all just trying to get on the podcast and tell everybody how we really are, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, just be a good person. Don't be an idiot, because you're going to look stupid when you get on these podcasts and everybody's going to be saying that you're full of crap. So
Yeah.
you can't say that about me and my brother, and you can't say that about, good guy, bad pants.